Asymmetric information is essentially when one party of some sort of economic situation has an upper hand in material knowledge to the other party. Asymmetric information has a lot of practical sense and does a lot of good for our economy as well. People who go to college or trade schools have the intent of specializing in a certain field. This allows them to gain a lot of knowledge in a particular area and be able to help people when it comes to this area of knowledge. Plumbers, electricians, lawyers, doctors, teachers, and countless other occupations require special and very focused knowledge of a particular field. Having certain knowledge over others in a particular field could be viewed as a type of asymmetric information. There are plenty of examples of asymmetric information being used in a bad way. One of the most common and easy to understand examples is a car salesman selling used cars. This particular type of asymmetric information is called a lemons problem. The seller is well aware of what is wrong with the car, if there is anything wrong with the car. But if they choose to not disclose that information to the buyer, it puts them at an advantage as they can sell the car for a price that the buyer actually thinks the car is worth, when in actuality, the seller knows that it is worth less. Asymmetric information can also be used in a very illegal way. One thing I'd like to dive into a little bit is the example of Martha Stewart and her insider trading scandal. Every insider trading scandal requires some sort of asymmetric information. The whole point of insider trading is that the heads of a certain company, or friends of the heads in this case, are well aware of how well or how poorly their company is performing. They also might know some other insider information, such as if another company will agree to merge or sign any sort of contract with their company, just to name a couple. Economic transactions like this are essential to the performance of a company's stock. And to clarify a common misconception, something that we are all currently very familiar with is the video chat program Zoom. Zoom Video Communications is a publicly traded stock that has soared over 137% at its peak so far in 2020. All of this is due to its drastically heightened demand. Obviously, no one really knew how bad COVID-19 would become. Doctors, economists, scientists, and many other people who might have made a smart speculation about the impacts that COVID-19 would have in the long term might have invested some of their money into Zoom stock in anticipation of it going up due to this potential increase in demand. Clearly, though, this is entirely based on speculation, and COVID-19 was and is public knowledge, so anyone could have made the same guess if they did their research. Others already invested in Zoom might have just been flat out lucky. This situation isn't really considered asymmetric information because of this public knowledge aspect. This differs from the case of Martha Stewart because the information that she knew was by no means public knowledge. On December 27, 2001, Martha Stewart would sell all of her 3,928 shares of the publicly traded stock ImClone. ImClone was a biopharmaceutical company dedicated to research and developing medicines founded in 1984. The company sold its rights in 2008 and no longer operates. On December 28th, one day after Stewart had sold her entire stake in ImClone, the FDA made their decision public to refuse to review Erbitux, which was a new product of ImClone. This led to an 18% drop in the stock price overnight. Considering Stewart's stake in the company, an 18% drop in price would have led to a considerably large sum of money lost almost instantly. Sam Waxel, the CEO of ImClone at the time, was a good friend of Stewart. He learned that the FDA would refuse to review their product well before the FDA had made that public knowledge. The evening of December 27th, Sam Waxel had told his broker, Peter Bokanovic, to move $4.9 million in stock to his daughter's account. The same evening, his daughter, Eliza Waxel, requested that her broker Bokanovic sell $2.5 million of her stake in the ImClone company. Shortly after this, the broker contacted Martha Stewart about the situation, and 10 minutes later, she had sold her entire stake in the company as well. Obviously, their plan was to not get caught while doing this, and if they did, they could try to justify their actions. Martha Stewart claims that she had issued a stop-loss order if the stock were to fall below $60 a share. In other words, she claimed that she had set her account to automatically sell if the share price fell below $60. This was later found to be a lie to cover up the insider trading she took part in. And the reason that these insiders eventually got caught was a man by the name of Douglas Fannell. Douglas Fannell was the broker's assistant that took care of the sale of Stewart's shares of ImClone. He caved and told the lawyers at Merrill Lynch that his boss, Peter Bokanovic, had pressured him to lie about this stop-loss order situation to cover up the insider scandal. Fannell stated that, "I did not truthfully reveal everything I knew about the actions of my immediate supervisor and the true reason for the sales." And it later came out that he had obtained money and other things of value for initially hiding his knowledge about the situation to the lawyers. By coming clean with these lawyers, Fannell was able to get out of this mess with just a $2,000 fine and no jail time. As for Martha Stewart, though, she was sentenced to 5 months in prison, 2 years of supervised release, and a $30,000 fine. All the while, Stewart continued to opt for her innocence. After this scandal had become public information, Stewart continued to push efforts to detach herself from the scandal entirely. She wanted nothing else to do with it, and she went about life like it never even happened. In an article I used for my research titled Martha Stewart's Insider Trading Scandal, I found it pretty funny how it discusses some underlying irony to this whole situation, though. The article states that, ironically, Martha Stewart could have sold her ImClone stock on December 31st. This was just 3 days after she actually sold all her shares, and this would have allowed her to collect $180,000 in profit without raising any concerns. This amount is only $48,000 less than what she had gained through her earlier sale. This just goes to show that Stewart is human too, though. It is normal to like money, and stock trading is already pretty scary as it is. If she knew that overnight she was going to lose a substantial amount of money, but there was no way to know exactly how much it would be, she almost had no choice but to sell her stock and hope that she didn't get caught doing it. She acted like she felt she had to, even though it was very illegal. This entire scandal was contingent on asymmetric information. Martha Stewart, even though she didn't obtain the information firsthand, seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. One of her friends passed on information to her that she just couldn't pass up. She acted on this news of the FDA refusing to review a product and almost got away with saving herself a ton of money. If people are smart about their inside knowledge, it is very possible to make a lot or save yourself from losing a lot of money. Who knows how much insider trading has occurred without anyone ever even noticing? Unfortunately, though, it's illegal to try to profit off of insider information and very possible to get caught just like Martha Stewart did.